It might work if I have my microphone on. Welcome to the Sloppy Syndicate show. I am your host, White Trash Donnie. We have none other than the band Lost in Silence in the studio tonight. I will bring them on shortly. So let's get this show started. Here we have Lost in Silence and... All right. So, and I took them off screen. There we go. All right, let's try that again. So this is Lost in Silence. Go ahead and go around the room, introduce yourself, and let us know what you play, who you are.
I'm Les. I'm the lead singer of the band, and I play guitar.
Okay. Well, I'm Alex. I play the drums.
I'm Mike. I play bass. And I'm Leon.
Okay. And what are you playing, Leon?
No introduction, just I'm Leon.
I'm Leon. I'm just a sexy stud that stands on the stage.
Yeah, he's DJ Moose Knuckle. That's who he is.
DJ Moose Knuckle.
Oh, you never heard that before.
He's the guy that pushes spacebar for us, and he makes sure things are in good working order on our PC.
All right, perfect.
I'll never forget that. You've never heard it? No, I haven't.
Oh, man. You can't unhear that now, can you? So
no.
Lost in Silence formed 2017?
16.
2016. You guys put your first EP out, Parallax, in 2017.
Yep.
And then we had some music following that in 2020. So there's a little bit of a break in the EP. So the EP had 2, 4, 5 songs. And I must say, Closer, which is a cover, love it. Great cover. Killing Me Softly, top 2 off of that EP. So let's fast forward into 2020, 2021, and 2022. So did the band take a hiatus, or what was going on between that time?
Yeah, we were still a band, but we just had, me and him are the only 2 original members. We actually started the band in like the first day of 2016 at the YMCA. We was working out, and he showed me some stuff, and I was like, "It's right down my alley," and that's how it started. But we just really couldn't keep a whole lot of people, man, and we couldn't really play shows because it was just me and him, and that was it, So we finally found the pieces, and now we're back at it.
Yeah, it was really kind of hard to find people that was dedicated and wanted to be as serious as us. We would get people to come in and jam, but then when it would come down to really trying to get it ready to play the shows and book shows, and then it was just like everybody was just kind of like, well, I'm not feeling it, or they just didn't show up, or whatnot. So that's really a lot of the reason that we took so long to get to where we're at now, is because we finally got some people that's dedicated and really wants to do the same stuff that we want to.
Awesome. And so how does it feel to be March 17th, if I'm correct on the date? I didn't write it down, but you guys debuted on Sirius XM. How did that feel? I mean, that's got to be a hell of an accomplishment. So,
man, yeah, that was really a surreal moment for us. I know for me, I can say that it's the first time that I've actually been so anxious to see myself on any sort of radio station or anything, because I know how long I've been trying to get on Sirius XM Octane. I mean, it's been years, and to do something that they really enjoy, to even put it on test drive was a huge accomplishment for us as a band.
Absolutely,
yeah. I mean, we're totally independent too. That's another thing Mike brought up a good point. We don't have a label. We don't have a management company that really pushes us. So to get on there with all these big names that have all that, man, I was just super stoked that they actually give us a shot. So we're super thrilled about that.
Right. Like you said, without a label, without any backing, I mean, that makes it 10 times harder to even get, the recognition. You don't have a promoter, you don't have anyone, kind of pushing that for you. So, I mean, that's a hell of a job. And the song is a cover song from Justin Bieber.
Yep.
Way better than the Justin Bieber version.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
So what's up, G. Lou? Thanks for coming in. So we do have a live chat. We are streaming on Twitch and YouTube, and then we'll upload this to the podcasting platforms after we're done. But G. Lou's a big music fan. He does a radio show and owns a beard company. So him and I are working on a radio show in the future, and some good things to come, hopefully, between him and I and some other people in the community. But yes, so what was the what made you go for Ghost? Was there something that you saw there that challenged you as a band to perform that song, or did you just think, hey, I could do this a hell of a lot better, which you guys did?
It was pretty like on the spot. We was in the studio. We was thinking about doing that or an original, and Lester's like, well, let's just do it. You know, why not? We've done it before. People liked it. We can make it better. You know, I went up there, tracked the drums, and I don't know, probably 4 hours maybe.
Yeah, the whole thing was completed in 3 days.
3 days. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. The guy that produced it actually is the guy playing guitar.
Okay. Yeah, that's a quick turnaround. 3 days to.
Yeah. Well, we had it mixed and mastered by Chris Dawson.
Okay.
So.
And the thing about it is that song kind of really hit home with me, because when I heard the lyrics to it, it kind of talks about the times that we're living in. You know, I mean, everybody's lost a lot of people and lost a lot of loved ones due to COVID or whatnot it might be. And, you know, it felt right. You know, I mean, it felt like, well, if we do this song and we can make it our own and release it at the right time, we feel that it could impact a lot of people's lives, because like you're saying, I mean, a lot of people may not like his version, but they like our version, or vice versa. But it's just going to be, it's like we're helping one another in that aspect, because if you don't really like, the message is the same, and you may not like the softer version that he has, and you want to hear the hard rock version that we have. It just felt right, you know. So that was my intention, was to try to get that song down as quick as we could, but to make it as much as our own as we could too.
Right. Well, you did a phenomenal job on that. And then
Thank you.
So going a little bit before that, so the previous year, Lost in Novocaine and Raging Eyes, and then you had Rest in Peace. So Raging Eyes and not Lost in Silence. I'm reading the screen. Sorry. Raging Eyes and Novocaine are two of my favorite songs from Lost in Silence. So got some top 3 bangers there. And then even in the EP, the older EP. So obviously you two are the original founders, and, you know, the original 2 left in the band. So, you know, that's still part of your history. So it's good to touch base on it and kind of see where you guys were, where you came from, and where you're going. So with that being said, in the next several months or a year, or, you know, what do you see in your future as a band? Releasing Ghost, having such great success with Sirius XM, Test Drive and everything else. Where do you envision? Where do you see? Where do you want to go?
As far as we can, man. We're still kind of waiting to hear back on XM. We got a good response. I'm pretty sure we won the votes in Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We're still waiting to see if we're going to get put on the normal rotation, but we feel good about it, man. And our foot's in the door. You know, it's just to even get on Octane's Test Drive, but you're doing something right. And, you know, we want to take it as far as we can, man, you know, and ride it out for however long we can do it, you know.
And there's just there's a vast array, you know, with Sirius, you know, XM. I mean, the satellite radio, you know, the .com, and, you know, so you have much more exposure. That, especially being independent, you have that much more exposure. You know, to, you know, maybe get a record deal, or, you know, behind the scenes work and different things like that. You know how the music industry works. So, you know, I'm hoping everything goes well for you. I mean, it is a banger, like I said, and people just need to you got to get your name out there, you know, and once they start hearing, oh, Lost in Silence, you know, and the 2 songs, like I said, that got me were Novocaine and Raging Eyes. So every post I've put of Lost in Silence has always been one of those 2 songs, because I could listen to them all day long. So
cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Novocaine's one of my personal favorites, and Killing Me Softly was my favorite off the first of it. So we're right there in the same ballpark.
And so how was it opening for Texas? You know, we had a show previously scheduled between us, and then you had the opportunity to open up for Texas Hippie Coalition. So how was that? I'm sure that was a hell of a time.
That was an eventful day.
That was
we'll never forget that. Those guys are super great guys, by the way. They're just hearts of gold.
And I'm sure your liver had a hurting after that one.
I think it was more of a smoke inhalation type.
That's all they do.
A little bit of both.
2 blocks down the road and your eyes are still bloodshot. So
Yeah, no, they were good dudes, man. It was a good show. We opened up for Tantric in the same place up in Bristol, Tennessee, the next day, and everybody was like, "You guys are the best sounding band." I mean, we sold a couple $100 worth of merch. We did good, man. You know, it was really cool. So,
so do you have any upcoming shows?
We got one in June 4th, Farmer City, Illinois. We're opening up for Blackstone Cherry.
Oh, very cool.
We're co-headlining that. Some of the manager and the sound guy that work at a venue called Sidetracks in Bristol that we play at, they run it up there. They're from there, and they asked us, "Hey, you want to play it?" And we was like, "Yeah, we do."
The easiest show we've ever got in our life. Like literally walked in the venue, and she came up to us, was like, "Hey, where are you going to be June 4th?" My response was, "Wherever you need us to be."
Yeah.
She was like, "Cool, I need you in Illinois." We're like, "Done."
Yeah, it was
we'll
awesome.
be there. So. And I know Saliva, so Bike Week down here in Daytona and Biketoberfest. I know Saliva typically plays a couple of the venues down here. So that'd be super cool to see you guys kind of tour, not be down, be in the Bike Week scene, playing or opening with Saliva. As you previously had, so that'd be pretty cool. Not only to meet you guys, but also to get the music in Orlando, Daytona, Orlando area.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, we look forward to that. Honestly,
yeah.
I know that they've we had a tour offer a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it's last week, and we're still looking into that. It's going to actually be with Saliva and otherwise. Through the whole month of July through the whole month of June and in first week of July.
Okay.
We're trying to work out some details with that, but yeah, I think they're actually going to come through that area, if I ain't mistaken, in sometime or another through June and July there. So that'd be cool if we got on that to meet you and hang out.
Definitely.
Yeah, we played a couple of shows with them in Alabama last year. We was going to that Sunday. We was going to play Rebel Rock.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember you. I run the Instagram, and I remember you following us and stuff. And yeah, I guess you helped get some of those shows together, right?
Yeah. So from Ashes to New, they played at Ace Cafe. Who else played there? Soul. There was a couple bands. There's a gentleman has a Facebook group, Cogs of War. He helped kind of get a lot of the local bands and some venues around here. So, yeah, that was quite depressing to say the least. I didn't go to Jose Mangan's birthday bash on that Thursday. So I was going to go Friday through Sunday, and literally 30 minutes before, as you guys know, 30 minutes before showtime, they said, "Yeah, we're done. We're not going to have the festival." So
yeah, it sucked, man. We was looking forward to it. That was our first festival that we got on, and
yeah, we were literally like loading the bus up. We were getting on the bus to pull out from here when we got the news.
Yeah.
At least you didn't drive here like a lot of the bands did.
We're
To
going
get here
to.
and be like, "Oh, you're not playing." Oh,
Yeah,
well,
man,
just
that was
12 hours.
Yeah,
that was a disaster. I really wish they would have got a little bit better communication with that. But I mean, I get it. I know that they had a lot of stuff going on, so we just took it with stride, and we actually got 2 shows of Saliva out of that, and it worked out for the best. So.
Yep. And so I don't know if there will ever be another Rebel Rock, honestly, with all the backlash we got. So
I wouldn't think so, but I mean, I could be wrong.
No comment.
Right. Yeah. We're not going to get into the speculation and the all that stuff that we could, but yeah, that was a shit show for sure. But well, we can always count on Danny Wimmer for Welcome to Rockville, and
man, that guy, everything he touches turns to gold.
And he's such a nice dude too. Danny Wimmer.
You would think just the amount of shows he puts on and the festivals, you think you'd be like the biggest dick in the world, but he's down to earth. He's cool. Yeah, he's like you. Like we could chat with him like you and I are chatting right now versus. Like, oh, who the hell are you?
He actually did that through COVID too. Like he started doing his Danny Weimer Presents little podcast thing too with all these bands. It was really cool.
Yep. So they just did him and Space Zebra. They did the Battle of the Bands recently for a tour with Escape the Fate. It's actually still going on by the regions, and to play Welcome to Rockville, which is in Daytona. So obviously I'll be there. Trying to go to Incarnation in Ohio. maybe Louder Than Life in Kentucky. So I try to stay East Coast. I don't want to go venture all the way to Cali at this moment anyway, unless an opportunity arises. But yeah, so I stay local, kind of East Coast, and try to live the rock star life without being the rock star.
You know, yeah, that's it, man. That's awesome.
So so tell us, what would be the songwriting process for you? What is the worst part for you, and what is the best part for you?
The worst part is trying to decide on what song I'm going to try to use, because I have so many ideas that I have on my computer in my studio before I even go try to work with a producer or try to finish them at all. I mean, that's the worst part about it is picking the ones that we think is the best ones for the producer or whoever we work with that they would want to use. And of course, the best part about it is hearing the final product of what they do when they put their spin on it. You know, how awesome that it is for that to come together, because it just really comes. I don't even know what the hell just happened.
Hold up. Light just died. There we
Oh,
go.
okay. Here.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing.
Holy
I mean,
crap.
shit, bro.
He was getting ready to break out the stripper pole without you knowing.
It might. Let me see if I can get that. No, it don't.
Oh, look at Leon over here.
Oh, man.
He's about to
That brand. No,
It's
this
fine.
one-
We can roll with it.
capture the rapture.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
So we just got him in the background. Just keep doing that. Yeah, like boom.
Anywho, like I said, the best part about it is, like I was saying, it's just the finished product and seeing how well it comes together, coming from a scratch idea that I've had or that anybody else has had, coming into that process. So that's just my personal preference on that.
So
there's not really a hard part for me. I just go play what I want and they record it. So,
okay. So you're the rebel in the group. You're like, whatever, I'm playing whatever I want. So
yeah.
The music process, like Lester is he is a madman. Like, he will literally send us stuff, 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh,
of
yeah.
just different stuff. He's like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And if anybody saw his computer, he's probably got enough music that he's recorded and got ready to go for 2-3 albums.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I've got stuff that I don't even know I have that I keep. And then I'm like, oh, I'll go back to it one day. I was like, oh, man, I totally forgot about
And
this.
he's like, man, that sounds really cool.
what's up, Justin Bell? Thanks for joining us. So folks in the live chat, if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we will ask the band, Lost in Silence, any questions that you may have. So a couple of questions I've come up with. So if you had the chance to open for any band, past or present, what band would you choose and why?
Mine would be Alter Bridge.
Alter Bridge, okay.
Miles Kennedy is probably top favorite vocalist of all time. I just, that dude is so good, and he is so good live. And I mean, he is just, the melodies and stuff that he writes, I'm just blown away. Really, he's an amazing vocalist. So I would love to open up for Alter Bridge just for that reason.
Okay.
I would say Breaking Benjamin. That's my all-time favorite band. Ben Burnley, to me, writes some of the best riffs there are. And I finally got to see them back when they came back, like 2015. That thing's messed up or something. Oh, is it dimming?
Yeah, I'm doing that. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, man, it was cool seeing them, and they were great. And yeah, that would probably be my pick, I would say.
Okay. All right. And who would be the influence? If I can talk, who influenced you the most in your music career?
God, there's probably a bunch, but I could probably give like a top 5. Big Morgan Rose fan, big Scott Phillips fan from Creed and Alter Bridge. I've played a lot of Breaking Benjamin. I'd say Alex Van Halen and Rick Allen from Def Leppard probably my top 5.
Okay.
So,
well, my top, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what the damn question was. I was sitting here dicking around with this thing, and I forgot what the damn question was. Sorry. My biggest influence of what now?
Music. What kind of steered you towards the music? Who influenced you towards your music career?
Man, I'll be honest with you. The first band that I ever heard that was heavy, that had screaming and melodic vocals, that turned me on to this sort of genre, even in close to this genre, was Killswitch Engage.
Okay.
Like I had no clue there was even music out there like that until I heard these dudes. One of my good friends that I used to be in a band with was like, "Hey man, check these guys out." And I was just like, "Killswitch Engage." I was like, "Man, that name sounds pretty, bad A. You know what I mean? Like it's a badass name or whatever." And I heard it and I was like, "Well, no wonder, dude." I was like, "This band rocks," you know. And that's what got me really into like the distinguishing between screaming vocals and then clean vocals and then like putting them together. And I was just like, man, this is really cool. So that's really probably the top band that ever got me influenced into this music at all was Killswitch. And then it just kind of grew from there because I went and seen Killswitch Engage, Dillinger and Escape Plan, and Parkway Drive at one setting. And you're talking about one of the most brutalist shows that you have ever seen live, man. These guys, like, I ain't never seen anything like this ever since I've been playing music or going and watching shows. And that, till this day, it was still one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that tour wasn't too long. That was what, 3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah,
4?
it hasn't been that long ago, but man, I'm telling you, they come to a place in Asheville called the Orange Peel and packed it out, man. And honestly, they was people like on the ground laying down. Like I thought they was dead after it was over with. They got such, I mean, they was into it that much in the pit and getting just bashed. I was like, man, this is crazy. The dude from Dillinger and Escape Plan was swinging on like he would climb to the top of the PA system and was swinging back and forth. They was yelling at him to get off of it. He was flipping them off, telling them go fuck themselves, and then jumps off into the crowd and headbutts somebody and like lays this dude completely out. And like this guy was like 25 feet from me. And I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy.
They were crazy. I seen them at Summer Slaughter one time, and he had these big amps, dude. I'm not a fan of them, but the guitar player just runs and just does a backflip off his amp and puts a hole through his cab, and they just keep playing. It's just
dude, they're absolutely insane.
I seen Norma Jean too that night. Okay. Norma Jean's singer, he crawled on top of the PA like he was saying for no reason whatsoever and just jumps. So it was pretty crazy. So yeah, those bands back in that day are.
What about you, fellas?
They're pretty nuts.
Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit?
So,
really?
Well, it's kind of cool. So my dad actually.
I like Limp Bizkit.
My dad went to high school with Fred Durst. He's from Gaston County, where I'm from, in North Carolina.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, they were best friends, like growing up through high school and stuff. So when I was like 5 or 6, they were like blowing up. So my mom has pictures of me going to like Limp Bizkit back in like the late 90s with my dad. So they were a huge influence to me. And then I remember like when I got older, I started listening to him, Rip Out the Wings of a Butterfly. And that was like one of the coolest albums. I was a huge Viva La Bam fan. And that's
I remember that music video.
Yeah, that was cool.
And
son of a bitch, dude. Damn it, why is it doing
Welcome to My Children. I
know why it's doing it. I'll fix it.
DJ Moose Knuckle.
DJ Moose
Here to guide you in the house.
Man.
And another influence is like Hell Yeah, Mudvayne.
Okay.
Vinnie Paul was a huge part of my life. I won't get into that here, but he was a really good friend of mine and one of the most honest, greatest people I've ever met in my life and got the honor to know and grow with. It was awesome. Great people.
All right.
You never mind damn well I've seen something so difficult to keep.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's get you on.
It's like this motherfucker's just destined for it.
We're gonna let that thing roll for a second. Make sure it's gonna stay on. No, we're talking about influences, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's just put it in perspective. I'll be 43 in May.
Wow.
I'm fucking old.
I'm
fucking old.
So beautiful.
just kidding, dude. I'm right with you almost.
Right about the time MTV was coming out, and they were actually playing fucking music, and not a bunch of teen mom bullshit. No shade on the people on that show, but you get my point. That's not music television. So anyway, I remember the music video to, in particular, was Poison's "Talk Dirty to Me,"
Okay.
and that what jump started my fascination with guitars because of CC DeVille. You had them Crazy Cut DC Riches, the Mockingbird, the Warlock, Seafoam Green shit. It was just wild. And then I saw the music video One from Metallica. And that is what fired up the desire to want to play music and perform. So I don't know. It probably all kicked off. I was about 8, 9 years old, and like I said, I'm 43 now, dude. And I mean, I'm still chasing the dream, dude. I probably will until my hands, as long as my hands will allow it.
Right. So I would say, growing up, I remember listening to Pantera and Ted Nugent, and my dad had a Mustang 5.0 Fox body, and we grew up in the farm town, so he'd be hauling ass down the dirt roads, blaring, Pantera and Ted Nugent. So I'd probably say those two were probably my biggest influences into the metal or the rock. And then the countryside, Garth Brooks. I grew up on Garth Brooks, so he was
Frankie Lawrence, all that stuff. Man.
Right. So those were kind of my biggest influences. I tried out for band, and they didn't have any openings for drums at the time or the drum corps, so I had to play trombone, and I didn't last. I got kicked out of band, so my musical career kind of ended at the trombone. So
Hey, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
What was the Pantera song that got you hooked?
Yeah. Oh shit! What's the name of it? Is it Hell? No. Hell. Damn it! You put me on the spot.
I'm sorry, man. Mine was Cowboys from Hell. That was
Cowboys from Hell. That's the one. Yeah.
And that shit blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, I knew it was Hell something, but yeah, that Cowboys from Hell. He would literally as loud as his speakers would go. He would have that, and then Cat Scratch Fever from Ted Nugent. Those were his two jams, and this is back when it wasn't child abuse to do stupid stuff with your kids. But, we had obviously a dirt road, and there was an intersection, and he used to call it Shoot the Moon, and the four ways met, and there was a hill. So he would shut his lights off at the middle of the night. And obviously, if there's cars coming, you would see their headlights, and he would just hit this hill probably at 50. And I remember being in the trunk and just flying. I thought it was the coolest shit at the time, but now it'd probably be child abuse. But
yeah,
at that time it was a fun time. So, so we do have a question from Justin. Most memorable gig and why?
Oh,
dang.
Okay. Well,
Lester, go first.
I think my most memorable gig was when I was with the previous band, Star City Meltdown. We opened for Skid Row in Duluth, Georgia at Wild Bill's. That was probably one of the craziest shows that I ever got to play. There was about 5,500 people there.
Oh, wow.
And man, it was so awesome just to be in front. That was the biggest crowd I was in front of at the time, and through my music career. And I really enjoyed every minute of it, because when you're on that stage and you're in front of that many people, I mean, you could be anyone, and you can command that crowd to do anything, and they'll do it. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, I felt like I could just walk across their heads, and they would have been cool with it.
You'd be like, all right.
So yeah, they just held me up. I mean, the second I got two. That was the first one. The second one was when I opened for Freeman Hanley whenever they had Lollipop that come out. We opened for those dudes in Johnson City, and I crowd surfed 465 people was capacity, and they was one in, one out. Like, they wouldn't even let anybody in until somebody left. So there was people standing in room only outside trying to get in. And I crowd surfed from the front of the stage all the way to the back. Never missed a beat with these people. Kept singing the song like, I bet you my balls got touched 1,000,000 times. And I loved every minute. I didn't care if it was dudes or chicks at the time. I was like, man, just get me back on the stage. I don't give a shit. I was, let me get back up here. But it was really cool just to have that experience of doing that. So that's my two favorites.
I would say, oh God, I would say my I'll go ahead and pick two. The first one would be we opened for Hawthorne Heights.
Okay.
That was very nostalgic, because I grew up in that era.
Right, same.
I'm only 29, so and getting to open up for them. I actually got a hoodie that says I used to listen to Hawthorne Heights in high school, and everybody gets a kick out of it, man. It was really cool to just more nostalgic than anything. It's a little 120 person venue called the Hideaway in Johnson City. It's perfect for that type of music. And I'd say the other one would be our very first show. We opened up for Lacey Sturm from Flyleaf. She wasn't in Flyleaf at the time, but that was really cool because I was a big Flyleaf fan. So I would say those would be my two.
Okay.
What do you guys?
As far as me, I'd say my most memorable one was with a group I was with probably 6 years ago called Promise the World. Just a local band, but we did a EP release party and we had a Super Bob actually open up for us at Capone's in Johnson City, Tennessee. And honestly, we packed the building. It was, I think, what's the capacity?
465, I think.
Yeah, it's up in the upper 400. And we packed that bitch to the back wall. And honestly, just looking out there and seeing that many people with our name on their shirts was just kind of like a surreal moment, I guess, for someone that wasn't raised in the music environment. It was just kind of like I'm the only person in my family that took off with this shit. Everybody else just kind of does their own thing. So, to kind of basically come from being that dorky ass kid, playing a broomstick in front of an MTV music video to actually turning it into something and seeing that was probably like my most memorable moment.
I mean, I still play the air guitar, so
Yeah, well, you gotta start somewhere, right?
What you live on?
Tell a Vinny story. Carolina Rebellion. All right, so back in 2016, I was working, and I was down at Carolina Rebellion in Charlotte, North Carolina, with Hell Yeah, and we went out there. It was like one of the first big festivals I'd been to. There was like 40,000 people standing out in front of the stage, and that night it was just really cool to be up there on that stage. But then that night, Vinny was like such a great guy. He would always cook out for all the bands at the end of the night, and so we're standing backstage or back at the bus, and there's just this huge cookout going. And then there's guys from Avatar. I met Nikki Sixx for the first time that night, and I was getting ready to go to Europe for the first time on a tour with another band I was working with, and I was in a circle at the end of the night, and they were telling me all about Europe, and it was Nikki Sixx, DJ Ashba, Kyle Sanders, Vinnie Paul, and Chad Gray. And they were just all telling me about Europe and how cool it is. And that was probably one of my most memorable moments.
I mean, that's a pretty good circle right there.
I was about to say, you kind of
Damn,
kissed
dude.
my ass, dude.
Right.
To everybody.
Here comes Leon rolling here with that big dick energy, bro. Dropping names like shit.
Oh man, I feel pretty shitty about mine now.
Right? Like, yeah, I hung out with this guy and this guy, and
I'm gonna go feel myself. Y'all have a good night.
Hawthorne Heights, that was actually the first time I saw you guys play.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Super Bowl was playing Capone's that night.
Yeah.
And I came over.
I remember that.
Yeah, we went over and hung out and talked.
I'm just kidding, man. I had to get something to drink. I'm never.
Oh, you're good. You're good. The most recent memorable, kind of funny story. So it was Kraken Fest. I did an interview with the Dev and who else? The Dev and Felicity. So they were playing at Kraken Fest with the U's, Amberlin, and several other bands. So I was backstage and I was hanging out with Werewolves and the Dev. They got their little dressing room and, they got drinks and everything else in there. So we're just sitting there bullshitting around. And Nikolai from the Dev is like, hey, go see if Bert will come over. And I'm already feeling pretty good. So I was like, whatever, and they got the names on the trailer. So whose trailer's who. So I literally just go knock on the door and open the door. I'm like, Bert. And he looks at me and he's like, essentially like, who the hell are you? Because he's never seen me in his life. And I'm like, hey, you know, this so-and-so wants to meet you. And he looks at me like with the biggest douche remark, like, I'm warming up. I was like, ah. It's like, I was like, all right, sorry. Like you could just tell in his face, he was so annoyed that I opened the door and he was warming up. So that's
Oh
my
man.
recent story. But
Man.
most memorable as a kid. So my first concert was Korn and Rob Zombie,
Oh
and
wow.
just the bass of the songs. I can remember reverbing in my body. And then the next concert, and don't ask me why my mother took me to some of these shows as a 12-year-old. And the next one was Kiss, and the only thing I can remember from Kiss is women taking their titties out and showing everybody, and a bunch of like the whole place smelling like pot. That's all I remember. So
That sounds about right.
that's about the only thing I remember of that show. So
Yeah, good old Kiss, man.
all right, so we're about 36 minutes in. I don't want to take too much of your time, so we'll wrap it up here shortly.
Cool.
So a couple questions. If you weren't playing music, what career path would you have chosen?
Oh God.
I'd have been a stripper, whatever,
I'd say for me, just cause that's what I do now, I'd probably work with kids and like intellectually and physically disabled individuals. I've done that for a while. I'm actually a youth counselor at the YMCA.
Okay, very cool.
In my hometown, yeah. And I don't know, man. I'm pretty good at it. I know how to deal with those individuals. It's just something that I'm passionate about. I've got an aunt that's like that, and I know how it is. And a lot of people don't understand. Like it really pisses me off, man, because we'll go out in public and people just stare, and it's like, have you never seen somebody with Down syndrome? Have you never seen somebody that's autistic? Like, what are you looking at? Like, why? You know what I mean? So I'm kind of passionate about that. So I'd say it's probably what I would do.
Okay, I mean that's an awesome answer.
Yeah, man. What you got?
Mine's probably not that good. If I had to really bring it down to my two passions, if I wasn't pursuing this to this level, then I would definitely be. I'm a gearhead, man.
Okay.
My dad was an engineer for Pratt and Whitney, built jet engines, drag bikes, and cars. And
Oh, very nice.
I got some toys of my own. When it comes to cars and bikes, and if I wasn't putting so much of my time and effort into music, then it would definitely be within the motorsports realm of some sort. That's mechanics is something I excel in, but I definitely get more pleasure out of playing music and performing.
All right, I could agree with that. I'm not talented enough to break down a bike or anything, but I enjoy riding them. So
There you go.
Yeah, I heard that, man. Me too.
But you.
I kind of retired from music in like 2016. Kind of came off the road. I've done it my whole life, my adult life from the time I was 18. Just tour after tour. I'd be gone like 8 months out of the year. And so I took the time off, and then me and my wife had a baby and started my own business. So, I do that now, landscaping, remodels, and building. I mean, it's kind of what I know. I can build stuff and good with my hands.
But you.
If I wasn't playing, is that the question? If I wasn't playing music, what would I be doing?
Yep.
Well, I have a couple of different options that I do now that I enjoy. And one of those is I have what's called an addiction treatment center that I'm a co-owner in a couple of them. And I help people try to get their lives back on track using buprenorphine products. And things of that nature. It's like people who get on opiates that we're really trying to get off of them. They come and see us, and we try to help them. The ones that can't afford rehab or whatever or whatnot. And that's really rewarding to me, because like when you see somebody get their life back together, that's really cool. It's almost like writing a hit song in that aspect in the music business, because you see how it impacts people's lives. And it's
Right.
no different in that aspect whenever I see something impacts their life and them get their kids back, whether it's DCS or, whether they get, their license back, they can drive or whatnot. It's really cool and rewarding to see that. So I would probably stick with what I'm doing. Cause I feel that that's really my calling is to do that and to play music at the same rate. But if I didn't do the music thing, I would still do that. So.
And I mean, that has to be very rewarding because you see essentially the lowest of the low and you see them
Absolutely.
build their life back up.
Man, I've seen people come into my clinics that haven't had one thing going for them. I mean, they're at the bottom of their life, their barrel, you could say. And within a short amount of time, they've either got their kids, they get their kids back, they get their license back, they get a job, they start supporting themselves, they get off the stuff that was causing them to go to, to jail or whatnot, and then they stay on this routine and they feel like they get the feeling of what normal feels like again. And it's awesome to see that because like some of these people are some of my closer friends now that I've helped through, and they've talked to me like if they've had a rough day or whatever, and it's awesome to see that. It is very rewarding for me, for especially to see that. So,
All right, yeah, some great answers in there for sure.
awesome.
All right, so that's going to about wrap it up. We are 45 minutes in. I know you guys are extremely busy. You have a life and everything else going on. So
I
tell.
appreciate you doing this. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
and thanks for waiting on us.
Yeah,
Oh, no
sorry
worries.
for all the technical difficulties that we've had too.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the music business, so.
Yeah, yeah, man, have us back, dude. We'll do this anytime. We
Yep.
love doing stuff like this. It helps you, helps us.
Right.
You hit us up anytime, man. One of us will do it.
So I'll keep an eye out on the tour that you guys are coming up here shortly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you have a stop down here, I have everything. I can take everything with me. So I got cases, just pop it in the case and we can do it right there.
Awesome, dude. That's really cool.
So let's, for the listeners, where can we find Lost in Silence?
Yeah, right here knows
He's the
everything about
business guy. You want an endorsement? This guy got it.
So you can hear us on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, YouTube Music, literally any digital platform we're on. And again, Sirius XM Octane. And as of today, what is it? 101.
It's up in Detroit.
101.3,
WRIF.
I think.
And Detroit, Michigan just started playing it too. You can go on there and vote.
Okay. Very cool.
We're on there with Miles Kennedy and Slash.
Oh, sweet.
So it's
Okay.
really cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
All right, folks. So you heard it here first. That's where you can find Lost in Silence. It's been a pleasure having you on the Sloppy Syndicate show, and we will have you on another time. Anytime you guys want to come on, just let us know, and we will get that squared away. So thanks again, folks, for joining the Sloppy Syndicate. If you are watching live, I appreciate it. If you're watching in the future, thank you for listening to the podcast. And you can find the podcast on all major streaming platforms. And we are out, and we will see you next time. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
guys.
Have a good one.
Peace.